before we get started, if you have not already, make sure that you sign in on the roster. And then also, I know we've got a lot of new faces here, so again, in November, we will have a prize drawing at that meeting. And the way that you're eligible, there's no purchase necessary. You fill out one ticket for your attendance tonight, so your name and call sign. And if you don't have a call sign, maybe put a name and phone number. But hopefully some of you will have your call sign soon for you new hands. But fill it out, put it in that bucket. And then the more meetings that you attend, the more times that you get to put your name in there, and then hopefully win something come November. All right. So this kind of ties into well, we have some exciting news. So last night the technician class tested, and it was 100% pass rate. And so Joe will tell more about that. Well, actually, go ahead. Do you want to tell? Since that is big news.
We had 9 people test. We had 9 people test. One of the students had already taken his technician license, and he went and got general. So we had 9 total tests and 9 pass. One of them was Joe Kraus, Jeff Kraus and Stacy Krause's son, who is 10 years old. So that's great. And we have one other gentleman who did not want to take a test at 8:30 in the evening, and he's taking an online test tomorrow morning. I think at 8:30 or 9, he's got it scheduled to take his test then. So we'll probably have 10 pass. I believe he will pass his. But Taylor was one of the ones that passed last night. Congratulations. I don't know if anybody else Randy passed. Snodgrass, so that's 2 of the 9, and enjoyed having the class. We will have an equipment demonstration next Monday night with more on how to program a radio and APRS and a satellite contact, as well as John Ryder's covering the digital side of DMR and D-Star and Echolink and all of that. So that was, I think the class was a good class. The instructors, I think Gary and Steve that were there.
Carolyn?
And Carolyn, 3 of the instructors. So I think they thought the class was pretty vocal. Anyway, that's it on the training. The next, the general class probably will start in the first week in November, as we normally do. I don't have anything planned. Try to get through one class before I have to get into another class. And then extra will probably start the first week in January. And not sure whether that'll be a Saturday or a weeknight.
All right, so can we get a round of applause for those who passed? And thank you again, Joe, and all the instructors and everybody who helped out with that as well.
And the VEs.
And the VEs. And the VEs. As this kind of ties into that, so I see, since we've got some folks who tested last night, and we've got some possibly new members and guests in here, if you guys don't mind, if you're new, or you joined within the past month or 2 for Delta Club, would you mind standing for us? All right, and I know we've had you introduce yourself before, I think, but would you mind introducing yourself again to us?
I'm Taylor Nicky. I just took the class with Joe, and it was excellent, and I passed the test last night. So.
All right, so I would encourage you when we take our break tonight, or after the meeting, or future meetings, feel free to go over there, or I'd encourage you to go over there and introduce yourself to Taylo and see if any of your interest in ham radio may match up with something that he's wanting to learn about, and all that. So congratulations again. And we're going to start on introductions. So we'll start, Perry, since you're tucked away in the corner.
My name is Perry, November 4, Golf Julia.
Scott, KM4 PMU.
Carolyn, KX4QF.
Eric, AK4YD.
Ned, KA4BLL.
Bob, K4KWR.
Dana, WI3B.
John, KO4CQS.
James, KQ4GGX.
Brian.
Ready. Randy, KQ4HJH.
Ty, KX4MQ.
Bob, KM4 SEB.
Tom, AC5MO.
Jim, N4BOK.
Dan, KN4FBJ.
Janet, KN4FBI.
David, Whiskey 5 Delta Juliet Whiskey.
Jose, KJ4TCJ.
Bob, KW4RJ.
Ken, KI4AOH.
Sean, KM4CFN.
Pat, W4OQG.
Eric 1, WB4SWP.
Steve, KK4VPT.
Jonathan, KO4WAQ.
John, KK4LST.
John, Kilo November 4, Bravo Victor Hotel.
Joe, November Sierra 4 Echo.
Paul, KY4MX. Jim, KD4FQU.
Dan, AA4DF.
Rob, N4AFJ.
Marlon, KM4DPP.
Billy, WL4B.
Richard, K4DXF.
Rick, N0KYN.
Barry 2, W5CJ.
Joe, KG4CZH.
Rick, W84MVM. No, that's it.
And Mary Jean, Kilo Yankee 4, Foxtrot Bravo. So again, welcome everybody. So we're going to start off, and we are going to vote on the Secretary's minutes and the Treasurer's report.
Cam's not here.
Where's Sam?
We can't do it.
Can't do it.
All right, so we'll say Ned, if that's okay. I've got a motion from Ned to, and I'm pretty sure your motion is it to accept the Secretary's minute and the Treasurer's report as published in Sparks, right? Okay. All right, so we have we've got a motion and a second.
Second.
Me.
By Carolyn, all those, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we're gonna now proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. All right, the motion passes. So with announcements, we are gonna start off, do we have any tests tonight?
We did. We have an upgrade to General Robert Tyler.
Okay. All right, and then Joe gave a training update, and I will say it seems like a very engaged class, and it's exciting to see, especially with a 100% pass rate. So I know we typically rotate out the classes, but with everything going on, I would encourage you, if you know anybody interested in ham radio, definitely don't hesitate to let them know about our technician class next time it comes around. Do you want to go on and cover Huntsville a little bit? Because I know we're going to cover it.
Right now, we've got 25 people paid on the bus and going. We did a family deal with Stacy and Joe, and Stacy and Jeff and Joe and Michael. But that is it, and fortunate to have some anonymous scholarship money that was given to us for the bus trip, so the club will come out in the black on that. So that is very nice to know going into it, because we needed about 30 people to pay to have it where it would be more of a break-even situation. So, but I do thank the anonymous donors for giving the scholarship money and all that. Look forward to the trip. We are the only group that has ever had a bus coming down to Huntsville.
Wow.
So the guy that I coordinate with has been very good about making sure that there's parking for the bus right at the back door and all that. And that makes it very nice to be able to come back to the bus and drop off your purchases, or even come and have a nice comfortable seat, because I don't think the chairs are too comfortable that are actually in the arena.
Well, they're normally full, even if you
Yeah.
know. All right, well, thank you, Joe, for all you've done to coordinate it, and thank you again. I'll echo what he said to the anonymous donor who made it possible to make sure that we could offer this service to the club members. So we appreciate all that. All right, so I have not signed us up yet as a club. I wanted to ask you guys and kind of throw it out there, but the ARRL, the VODA, so the Volunteers on the Air event, where it's W1AW's Portable in Tennessee, starts on September 13th, and it should go for about 5 or 6 days. And last time we had a couple of our members, it was kind of a last minute sign up, and what our members got to do is basically take on the call sign of W1AW stroke 4. Thank you, I couldn't remember what it was. And they were actually able to use that call when they got out on certain frequencies. And so if we have any interest at all, I'll reach out and sign us up again. And I don't know exactly which day, but I would guess it's sometime the week of the 13th of September. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let, I talked to Steve earlier about it, but I'll let you, if you don't want to talk about it for a few minutes, and then John can fill in anything. What to expect.
Yeah, we did it, and it had just come out, wasn't it?
It was like maybe March or April.
March or April, and it hadn't been out very long.
They
so-
started in January.
Oh, did they start in January? Okay. Because the reason why I was saying that, because when we did it, I did it kind of like field day. You know, I just got out and said, hey, just threw out the call sign and just, I didn't call it contest. I said, volunteers on the air, and gave the call sign. And some people knew what it was, and some people said, well, what the heck is this, And I just explained that it was recognizing volunteers on the air for the year. And I think it's also kind of tied in with logbooks of the world, because you don't have to submit, if I remember right, isn't that right, John? We don't really have to, or did we?
We collated our.
Okay, we did.
logs
Okay,
and sent
okay.
something to him, but
Yeah, but it was
wasn't
done.
our own log, it was.
Yeah, but it was done more through Logbook of the World,
right.
which is, kind of co-sponsored by ARRL. So I think it was kind of a way of kind of promoting Logbook of the World too, because I don't think you could, I think that's how they got credit. I think the people that we contacted, that's how they got credit for it. So I think we did it just kind of a couple hours one night. So I'm hoping if we do it again, we've actually got some more time, because it just wasn't, the times wasn't very good, but it was just, and at the same time, because it's not like crazy like field day, a lot of people did say, okay, what is this? And you could explain to them, obviously they were already ham radio operators, so it's not like GOTA, but it was an opportunity of explaining about ARRL and about the Logbook of the World, because that's how they had to, from what I remember, that's how they had to get credit for it. So, okay.
And it's pretty easy to do, right?
Yeah, it was easy. Like I said, it was just making a contact, but it was a way of promoting it.
But we
Any
did have to keep a
questions?
log.
Huh?
Yeah.
Did have to keep a
We
log.
had to keep a,
What, N3FJP or did they? have
Whatever
their own?
logging software you wanted to use. I don't
Oh,
remember.
okay.
I think I just sent you an ADM.
I think so.
That I just exported.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be honest, it's been a while and I
Yeah.
wasn't really,
Well, and,
Ready to-
and part of it too is that
but I
like,
do remember that it was tied in with Logbook of the World, because I remember talking to people about that, because they said, oh, what's that? And I actually talked to them, I think, more about that than I did
yeah.
the event, so.
Yeah, I didn't do voice, I did FT8, and when I called CQ, I mean, you talk about a pilot, it was crazy, I couldn't believe. If you want to rack up a lot of contacts in a hurry, do that event, because the minute you throw the W1AW/4 out there, it seems like everybody's trying to.
And it's going on now, I mean, I've seen it, yeah,
I've seen it
it's,
as well, and with other regions as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And again, if we have any interest from the club, because I believe it was just about every band except for the Mars bands, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, you could, depending on your level, we could help you figure out a frequency to call on and give that a try. Like if you want something that's a little bit, what sounds like less stressful than field day and a little bit more relaxed, and then a cool experience to use the call, then this might be a good way to get involved. And so, is anybody possibly interested in that? If so, raise your hand. Okay, all right. Well, then what I'll do is that I will
And
email.
if Carolyn wants to do it at CW, that would
Yeah.
probably
No,
be,
I was gonna do FT4.
Okay.
FT8,
Yeah.
I'll do FT4.
okay.
So what I'll do is I will reach out to the person who's coordinating it for Tennessee, and then get the details, and then we'll probably send those out and post those, because we will have another club meeting before then, and so I'll have more details about kind of what to say, or you know, when our hours are and all that. And so if you are interested, I would encourage you to give it a go. It's a lot more relaxed than field day, but you know, if it's a cool opportunity to get on the air, then it sounds fun. Let's see. All right, so I don't have details yet, but just because the date is approaching, the Bluff City Blues Ride is on September 30th. Normally that's in October, but it's going to be the last weekend in September this time. For those of you who are not familiar, the Bluff City Blues Ride, it's a bike ride that starts off in Shelby Forest in Shelby County, and then they'll ride all the way up into like the Burleson area, Gilt Edge, in Tennessee, in Tipton County, and then come all the way back down. So for those of you who are not familiar, especially when you start getting out to Drummond's and Gilt Edge and Burleson, there's a lot of pockets where there's no cell phone service still. And so they normally rely heavily on us to help with SAG cars, supplying gear, carrying, you know, we'll have different stations, the aid stations that we'll be set up at and whatnot, because especially out there, if something happens and somebody gets hit by a car or anything like that, if they don't have cell phone service, it is critical for them to be able to get out at least to net control, so that way net control can call 911 and get somebody out there. And so most of the time for the past several years, we haven't had any instances where we've really been needed other than the regular communications, but you know, there's always that risk. So I will have a sign up for that in September, and we'll have more information in September, but typically that's an all-day event. So for those of you who are new hams, that's a great way to get comfortable and get used to your radio. But what we normally do is that if you are new, we'll pair you up with somebody who's done it before. And because there are a few spots out there, like I know we normally rely on Tom's mobile station, because he's got a good reception all the way out there in like the Burleson Gilt Edge area. Because you're normally at Randolph Landing, right? Where you get for a couple of years at least, and so we don't expect somebody with who's new with a handheld to just simply get out there and have the gear for that. But what we do is pair you up with somebody who's done it before, who's got the experience, and so that way you get to kind of learn and just practice getting on the air and more of an event type situation. There will not be an MS 150 ride. We talked about that several months ago when that decision was made, but just because the time is approaching, just a reminder, there won't be an MS 150 ride anymore. So since there's no ride, there will be no communications for the ride. But on that note, I will say, if you know of any events or races that are either new to the area, or maybe that it's an event that's been growing for the past several years, maybe to the point where they could benefit from some ham radio communication, feel free to let us know, or you can talk to the event organizers or come see me and if you think that there might be a possible event that we can help with, because the more that we can help with, for one, it gets us out in the community, and then two, it's a way that we can actually help them potentially, because there are a lot of events that occur where there's pockets, again, of no cell phone service, so it's a way that we can give back. Let's see. All right. And so the last thing, I know we're getting towards the end of the year for us, and it's only August, but normally the way, if we have anybody in here who might be interested in serving on the board of directors for Delta Club next year, we've got the elections coming up in November, and so what we do is, part of our bylaws, I appoint a nominating committee. And that nominating committee gets together to help make sure that we have at least one person running for each office, and then those nominations are made in October. Technically every position is always open, and we've got several officers who said they would be willing to serve another year. We've got quite a few who said they would prefer to be able to step down because they've got other things that need to take their time up more, but they'll serve another year if nobody steps up. And then we've got a few who have said that they have other commitments and they're not going to be able to serve again. So I would encourage you, because there's several people out here who I know who have been getting more involved and whatnot, and if you're looking for a way to get more involved, to help give back to the club, and you're not really sure how, come see me, and I'd be happy to talk to you about some of the opportunities, maybe some of the different positions. Because I know sometimes it seems like a lot, and some of you may be too busy to volunteer, but the more that we can all kind of step in and help out where we can, it kind of takes the pressure off of just a select few people, so that way we can make sure that we have enough help to be able to do cool events and continue to offer really unique opportunities for the club. So if you're thinking about it all, I would encourage you to come see a board member. Perry, did you get 2 others for the nominating committee yet?
I was gonna see if anybody was interested in doing that. I think I wrote a couple of folks that helped me with that. If anyone would like to be on the nominating committee, it's gonna be me and 2 other people. Basically, our job is gonna be to present candidates for these open spots at the October meeting. So if that's of interest to you, grab me during the break or maybe afterwards. We can definitely sign you up for that. I'm a new board member this year. I've really enjoyed it. It kind of gives you access to a lot of things that are going on with the club. You know about the state of repeaters, you know about events that are coming up. So in a jealous way, I've enjoyed that, but it's just another way to help out the club. It doesn't really take up much of your time, and just gets you more involved in the club and what we're doing. So if you're thinking that you might want to be on the board, please holler at us and let us know. I've enjoyed it. I think you'll enjoy it also.
Let them know. And so to serve on the board, the bare requirements of it is that you needed to have attended at least half of the meetings that we've held for the club. So from November to November, if you've attended at least 6 of the 12 board meetings, that's the bare minimum requirement to run. We also, what we do is that with the board meetings, we meet on the first Tuesday of every month. Right now we're meeting at 6:30. We can adjust that a little if we had to, but for the most part, we meet the first Tuesday of the month, and we do meet on Zoom. So it is nice because then we don't have to drive, and because we have a lot of folks, even who, several of us live in different counties, and so that is kind of nice as well. And like Perry said, it's a great way to kind of learn about what's going on behind the scenes, learn about the details and everything. It's a great way to give back, and I know you don't need to be a member for 10 years before you consider serving on the board. I just joined Delta Club and just become a ham less than a year before I stepped into a position on the board as secretary, and it actually helped me learn who a lot of you guys were way faster than I would have if I would have just been an active member. So even if it's your first year, second year, third year, and you're relatively new and you have any interest at all, come talk to us, because you may have a way, there may be something that if you're talented in a specific area and you've got, the time and energy to give, there may be a very beneficial way that you can give back to the club serving on that. Is that everything? Okay. All right, so and the nominating committee would be good. It doesn't matter really on your experience level. That's something, if you've got a little bit of time right now and you just have an interest in kind of helping to kind of get a behind the scenes view on talking to people and just going up to see who we can help match to the positions. That's a really good opportunity for you that wouldn't take up much time, since you would technically be done by October with that responsibility. The last announcement I have, we have a little mini Lost and Found, so if this is your hat or umbrella, I would encourage you to pick it up today. I didn't want to put it into storage it was the stuff that we've had from the Ellendale Church of Christ, so if this is yours, be sure to grab it. Are there any other announcements before we take a short break?
With the class finishing up, one of the things that I do is encourage the students to join ARRL. We will be doing, next Monday night, I'll be getting the applications and the checks. If anybody wants to renew their membership, the club, if it's on a renewal, it's $5 we get. If it's a brand new, or if you had your ARRL membership had lapsed more than 2 years, it would be considered basically a new member, and we get $15 for new members. So it's just a way to join. If you're joining ARRL anyway, it's a way of giving the club some money and not cost you anything in addition.
Thank you. And for those of you who haven't heard, because I know we mentioned it a few times, but the link is in Sparks. The ARRL dues are going up January 1st. So if you are a penny pincher or a couponer or whatever, and you'd like to save money where you can, now's a good time to actually renew. So it tacks on a year or however long from whenever yours currently expires. So this is a great time to do that, where it helps out the club as well. So
Make a check payable